about to get really serious in here. Let's get down to Marpe business. I had to take almost an hour break in between part one and part two because I ran out of space in my storage space on my phone. Literally, my phone froze up. This is the second time it's done that. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have just lost everything. But I feverishly deleted some apps and some things, and I'm back. I've got about 247, I have about 6 gigabytes, no, not gigabytes, 6 little numbers to like completely full, but we're going to get this done. We are going to unpack Marpe. So, Dr. Zaghi said, Marpe, have you heard of it? And I said, that's that expander thing, right? And he says, yes. And he says it expands your jaw and you get space. And I go, you mean like, and you get space in between the teeth? He says, yes, you can get a lot of space in between the teeth because it's moving, it's moving everything. It's actually rebuilding the bone. So everything is moving out and then forward, if I'm correct. And I said, oh my God. I said, that looks excruciatingly painful. You've got screws up in your palate, and some people can't talk with it. And then even more so as you have that gap. And I said, oh my gosh, I said, wait a minute. I said, I don't think I can do that. I said, if I do that, then I'm going to have this big gap for a long time, which is horrifying. And I said, and then if I can't talk, I said, okay, maybe I can like keep my mouth closed. Maybe I can rock the big teeth gap, but I don't know if I can rock that and a lisp, and talk. And I don't think I can do it. And he's like, Vanessa, he says, I did it. He said, I did it. And he goes, trust me, there are plenty of models that rock that, that rock the space in between the two. So of course my brain goes, just like with the gray hair, it goes like, oh, pretty models with gray hair. I'm like, pretty models with gaps in their teeth. He says, Vanessa, we can do this. And then he goes, I promise you, you do the Marpe, your sleep apnea, it's going to go bye-bye. And then we can do a deep release and work on all of this. He says, I know you. He was so funny because we just really gelled at this point. He says, he goes, I can see you're getting excited. You're getting excited. He goes, you can turn this into a journey. You can share your journey. You can share this journey. And, your followers and your people that you work with, they're going to find you endearing. You're going to be honest. You're going to share and you're going to educate. I have to admit, for a second, I was excited. I was like, okay, I'm on this. I got this. And then I got scared again. And so he said, okay, he goes, there are 2 doctors. We were brainstorming kind of on the Zoom. He goes, there's 2 doctors. He goes, I've got Dr. I think like Kapelson, which actually is in his office, who will do the expander, the Marpe, or there's a Dr. Manueli in Las Vegas. And, I have to tell you, there was a couple things that was going through my mind. This is what was going through my mind at first. First, I was like, I'm freaking PO'd. I was PO'd because I had gone to my myofunctional therapist who did all of my assessment, and then I had done all these things. So I'd done the myofunctional therapist, which is the first step, but then I had gotten the scan and the sleep test, which gave us more information, and then I jumped into these, it's no one's fault but my own because I made the decision, but I'm mad because I didn't get a consultation with the doctor that would ultimately be doing my my procedure so that we could get a game plan from the beginning. Now, I have to tell you, after I got off the phone, I'm kind of digressing a minute. I had this conversation with my myofunctional therapist about it. And I said, that's my only thing. My caveat is that I think in hindsight or in your future cases, when you're working with patients, although you've never had one like me that has ever been turned down basically for the tongue tie, is that before we start doing all these protocols and procedures, let's get a game plan with the doctor to see what the game plan should be on his end because he's ultimately making the decisions. At any rate, back to my Zoom call. So then I said, here's the thing. I've already spent, the $7,000 on these teeth. He goes, you can put those, you can have their expander done, and then you can get some revisions done with your aligners. They have, X amount of revisions that they can rescan, and you can use those afterwards. So I'm thinking, okay, well, that's not the worst case scenario. So he tells me the Dr. Manueli, and we're on the Zoom together, and we're doing the research, and I said, is it Dr. Hamilton and Manueli? And he says, yeah. And then I said, oh my gosh, I said, I think my daughters, like all my daughters went to Dr. Hamilton. So I said, I've already spent like, one daughter had braces twice. I've spent like four braces that I've paid for at this office. He goes, oh, maybe you'll get like a freebie. And I'm like, yeah, right. But I was kind of nice that there was a doctor here in town that I could go see. He says he's the only one that does he's a specialist with Marpe in adults. So I took a deep breath, feeling somewhat defeated, but also focused on this new potential direction that also, he did say, you start this, and it was maybe like in a matter of maybe 3 or 4 months, maybe it was less. As soon as I could get some space, then he would feel comfortable enough doing the release after I'd gotten, to a certain period of time. This is a lot to take in. I dove in, and I can't just undive, but I'm not happy about this. Like, I'm really not happy about this. But I took a deep breath, and then I called the Dr. Manueli's office to get a consultation. They got me in the very next day, which is fantastic because I didn't want to have to wait. So 10 a.m. the next day, I go into the office. And all the ladies remember me. That was really nice. It was like homecoming. Everyone remembered me and my little girls, and they're coming in their Meadows uniforms, and now it was me. So I sat in the office and I poured out my heart and poured out my story. Oh, actually, before that, they came in. They immediately did scans and x-rays and all kinds of stuff so that the doctor would be prepared to see me. And then the Dr. Manueli came in, super nice, super educated, and we got down to business. He started looking at all of my records, and he at first was really trying to assuage me we're focusing on the breathing issues or sleeping issues. He says, okay, we've got sleeping issues and we've got, your chronic pain issues, which is more important? Well, it's like, frick, I don't want the pain, but I know sleep is paramount, but I don't want the pain. So it's like, I can't one or the other. So he was really trying to really push me in the direction or, to guide me in the sleep apparatus things. And I tried various things. He's like, you haven't tried this and you haven't tried this. And I said, look, at the end of the day, I appreciate him really giving me all that information. But at the end of the day, that even if I got a device to help me sleep better with sleep apnea, it does zero to help from the tongue tie that's causing all this, and the forward head posture, hip pain, and all of that stuff. So after I was feeling really defeated with him because I felt like he's not even budging. But I also know, in reality, he knows that this process, the Marpe, ain't kids' play. This device looks like a torture device. He starts showing me all of the before and afters of his patients that have had this as adults, kind of giving me, all of the risks and the benefits. And, most of them, their facials change, they have some facial structure change, which I honestly thought they all looked better. Not talking aesthetically here, but just they looked more youthful. And he said, even Dr. Zaki said, the upside is it's like a facelift. He's like, it's like what did he say? You'll look 10 years younger. And I'm like, well, that's kind of a nice side benefit. That wasn't what I was thinking, but I'm not going to get a facelift. So this is kind of nice. Maybe it will be worth all the pain to get like a little, a little push forward and a more youthful look. I'm trying to find the good in this situation. Time in this video. There's a lot more I have to say. But at any rate, we look at everything, and he said you could go really fast, which is what Dr. Zaki said, do it fast, then you're done. Or we can go really slow, and we can do it from like 19 to 24 months, very slow. We would be from, A to Z, we would be working together. He also said, the aligners I have, no bueno. With him, he wants to manage the entire system, so I'd have to get some new aligners as well as the Marpe device, and that he would be monitoring me, and we would be turning it very much on a tight schedule together slowly so that there would not be too much gap. And he even said, I will give you the device after it gets made, the Marpe. You can take it to your therapist, and I can give you something to make it temporarily stick up there. And you can practice on speech so that if you have an issue with like the S sound. Believe it, I've run out of video again. Anyway, stay tuned for part 3.